So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's class. I want to appreciate all of us that have been following the class all this while. And happy weekend to everyone. Growing up, weekend has been my favorite, but now I can't say the same. Both weekdays and normal days are all the same. But regardless, that's one of the things that come with growing up. Okay, so today we'll be looking at plant nutrition and transport. Under this, we'll be looking at photosynthesis, mineral requirement, transport mechanisms, and then some experiments that you can carry out in your school laboratory. So before we proceed, I will give us a general overview of what you are going to be discussing. Like I normally say, I love going from probably the foundation. I like generating an idea of the class you're about to have, explain to us from the grassroots, and then we're going to build up from that knowledge. And I believe this is not the first time you are hearing the word photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. But I'm going to take a benefit of doubt that probably this is the first time you're going to understand this fully. Now, first of all, the every food source we have on this earth, on this planet Earth, comes from plants. Every one of them comes from plants. Okay, that's your glucose source comes from plants, both directly and indirectly. It comes directly when you buy vegetables, fruits, plant products, and eat, and indirectly when you kill an animal and then eat that animal. I believe when we talked about pyramid of energy, I taught us how energy flows in the ecosystem from producers to primary consumers, secondary consumers, tertiary consumers, and then the saprophytes. So today we'll be looking at how does these primary producers actually produce this food. You all can agree with me that if there are to be no plants, I don't think that life will be sustained on this planet. I don't think that life can be what? Sustained. Life cannot exist. Now, how is it that these little green plants come to be of so much importance to us that we so much depend on it, both directly, that is by eating your vegetables, buying plant produce, or indirectly, that is by killing a cow, killing a goat. For those that eat snakes, killing the snakes too. Are you with me? Now, you eat it in and you obtain glucose, you obtain sugar, you obtain fructose. Your body digests them all through metabolism. I believe you are going to be treating that in your year two, second year, through metabolism of carbohydrates. You see how those glucose are being turned to energy. Now, all these things are what you'll be looking at this night. So, an overview now. Plants require nutrients and efficient transport systems for growth and survival. When we are growing up, I for one at least, when I was growing up, I used to see my parents as these kind of mini gods. They provide for us, at least all of us here suck breast, in quotes, probably most of us did before the onset of milk and formulas. But then you see your parents, they provide, you eat, and most times I used to feel like they are kind of like demigods. They don't really need food. We are the ones that need food. Sometimes it's a common experience, especially with last borns. Even when their parents are eating, they'll still go to them to what obtain from them. And we forget sometimes that these people are also what living things that they what need nutrition. Likewise, plants. Year in, year out, plants are what tasked with the responsibility of providing what we are going to eat. And most of the times we forget that they do eat. So tonight you want to explore how is it that they produce their food, the food that sustain them and sustain us as well. And how is it that this food that sustain them, how is it that it is being produced in one end in the leaves, to be more specific in the trichaloid of the what leaves inside using the chlorophyll. How is it that it is produced there in the leaves and then utilized somewhere in the roots? The root is also a living cell. It needs energy too. So plants, first of all, that's the first point I'm establishing, require nutrients. and they also what utilize efficient transport system to see to it that this nutrient they produce is being transported to every other part of that plant. Now, the process by which plants manufacture their own food is called photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is a key process of converting light energy into chemical energy. I'll come again. Photosynthesis is what the entire process by which plants convert light energy from the sun into what chemical energy. Now we are going to pause here. We are going to take a brief we are going to just divert a little. In thermodynamics, we were taught a first law of thermodynamics that energy is what neither produced nor destroyed. That's energy is neither created nor destroyed, but can be what transformed from one form to another. So when we say plants produce food, it's not as if they are producing something entirely new. No, they are transforming energy in one form to what another that they can utilize, and you, I myself can also utilize it. So the plants, you keep them outside, they look up, they see sun, they are like, ah, sun is wasting. Oh, we human beings, we are avoiding sun. Some of you are buying bleaching cream, to be fair, because you feel like the sun is darkening your skin. Just keep playing, sha. So these plants look up and they see the sun. Hello? Please mute your mic. Someone's mic is on. Please mute your mic. Thank you. So these plants look up, they see the sun, they trap the energy from that sunlight, and then they convert that energy from the sun into what? Chemical energy. That is photosynthesis in its simplest definition. Converting energy from the sun into chemical energy. If you are writing, you can make notes, okay? I hope you are making notes too, because I've said a lot of things already that are not in the PDF, in the PowerPoint. Now, from our primary school, I believe most of us we are taught photosynthesis from primary school. Some of us we are taught in secondary school. I even understood what was photosynthesis in my SS3. Some of us are going to understand it today. So the definition we have was very, very simple. So photosynthesis is what the process by which green plants convert energy from the light. No, this is not primary school. I think I'm even forgetting that definition. There is this one they gave us. Photosynthesis is the process by which plants convert but convert utilizes sunlight to produce its own food in the presence of carbon dioxide and water. Exactly. That is what we were taught. Now, we are going to teach that idea. It's very, very basic. So we are going to write the one I will tell you now. Photosynthesis is the entire process. For those that are just now, repeat it twice, okay? And I'll be slow. Hope you are with your pen and your book so you can write this down. So I go now. Photosynthesis is the entire process. Photosynthesis is an entire process by which plants, comma, algae, comma, and some bacteria. I repeat, photosynthesis is the entire process by which plants, comma, algae is spelled ALGAE, algae, and some bacteria convert light energy, into chemical energy, convert light energy into chemical energy in bracket carbohydrate, into chemical energy in bracket write carbohydrate there. Can put carbohydrate comma carbohydrate slash glucose. So I'll repeat, photosynthesis is the entire process by which plants,
Check it
comma,
again.
algae, comma, and some bacteria convert light energy into chemical energy. Then you open your bracket and write carbohydrate slash glucose, close your bracket. In the presence, okay, utilizing atmospheric carbon dioxide, utilizing atmospheric carbon dioxide or oxide, anyone, utilizing what? Carbon dioxide, atmospheric, or you can remove it. Utilizing carbon dioxide is the same, and giving off oxygen. Okay, utilizing carbon dioxide and water and giving off oxygen as a byproduct. Utilizing carbon dioxide and water and giving off oxygen as a byproduct. I believe you have all getting this right. So I'll repeat it again. And please, if any change, any sentence should change or wording should change, the idea still remains the same. Okay, I'm not reading from any notes. So just get general idea. So I repeat, photosynthesis is the what entire process by which plants, algae, and some bacteria convert what light energy, energy from the sun. It convert light energy into what chemical energy. When we talk about chemical energy, we are talking about carbohydrate, to be more specific, glucose. Okay, so it converts what light to what chemical energy. Chemical energy, that's in molecules and compounds. Compound, it converts it to is what carbohydrate. Can call it glucose, fructose, galactose, any type of carbohydrate. Okay, that's the hexose. So utilizing what carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is same thing as carbon dioxide and water. So it uses carbon dioxide and water, and then what gives off energy. Sorry, and gives off what oxygen as a byproduct. Since we are in the university, I think we should add one more sentence here. So right, photosynthesis. Okay, no, this is not add this now. This should be off for now. So let me continue. Mineral nutrients and water are observed from the soil. I'm reading the PowerPoint now. Mineral nutrients and water are observed from the soil, and then transport systems, including xylem and phloem, they help to transport these mineral nutrients up and down plants, and also the food, that the carbohydrates produced in the leaves. The phloem is responsible for transporting it from the leaf to wherever it is needed, called the sink. Whereas the xylem is responsible for transporting what? Mineral nutrients and water from the roots to what? The leaves where they are needed. Alright, so let's go properly into photosynthesis. Please, do anybody have any question? Any question so far? Hope I'm audible enough. People are hearing me, right? Okay, so I'll take that as a yes.
Yes, sir.
So thank you so much for the feedback. Now, photosynthesis occurs in the chloroplast of plants. I'll define what photosynthesis is, right? Okay, let me break this down more simpler. Photosynthesis. Now, this is made up of two words. Photosynthesis. Now, divide that word into two. You have photo and then you have synthesis. Photo means light, photon, light particle. Photon, photon, photo. So anytime you hear about photo, it means light. You are what? Capturing light. You are capturing the moment. When you take a snapshot, you are what? Capturing light as it is. Synthesis means what? Production. To synthesize, to make, to produce, to cause something to be. So photosynthesis means using light to produce something. Are you getting it? So photosynthesis is what plants using light to produce food. So where does this occur? It occurs where, first of all, in the plant. Secondly, where in the plant? In the leaf. Where exactly in the
Sir,
leaf? In the chloroplast. Hello?
I have a question.
Okay, I'm listening. What's the question?
Okay, like you said, photosynthesis is about light. So how about chemosynthesis? Is it about chemicals or the same light too?
Chemosynthesis. Chemo means what? Chemical. Synthesis means production. So in chemosynthesis, the plants now use what? Chemical means to synthesize glucose. Hmm? But the most common one is what? Photosynthesis, whereas it uses light means to synthesize food. Are you
Okay,
still with
sir.
me? Did you understood?
Okay, yes, understood.
Thank you very much. All right. So, in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, plants convert light energy to what? Carbohydrates. This is a simple equation. Since a molecule of carbon dioxide plus oxygen, sorry, plus water will give you what? Carbohydrate and 6 molecule of oxygen. I believe you memorized this in secondary school, though we don't even understand it. That's fine. So, photosynthesis consists of two processes. Okay. Now, if I should ask you now, how many of you can cook rice? Okay, most of us can. How many of you can make bambala nuts? They call it in the East, they call it oba. Or how many of you can make soup? Now, all these processes of making food, all these entire process of making food can be divided into what? Phases. It can be divided into what? Phases. Now you can say the first thing you should do is to do what? Let's say, okay, let's cook egusi soup now. No, let's parboil rice now. First thing you should do is to do what? Get your pot. Not boil water. Are you with me? First thing you should do is what? Get your pot ready. Then you wash your pot. Second thing you should do is to do what? Get your rice ready. Wash your rice as well. Now, this is the first process, second first step, second step. Now, the third step, you can say, okay, now put the rice into the water, boil it, this. You now break it down. So likewise, plants in making their food. Okay, now this process of parboiling rice now I just said, from getting your things ready to actually cooking it, and then after you have parboiled it, you will now rewash it again and boil it till it is done. You can see, okay, let us divide it into three phases, three distinct phases. So the first phase will be what? Preparatory, whereas you get your things ready, your pot, your water, your rice. The second stage will be what? Parboiling, whereas the third stage is do what? Boiling it till it is done. Likewise, photosynthesis, the entire process by which plants make their own food, we can now divide it into two phases, the light reaction and the what? Dark reaction. So the entire process of photosynthesis consists of two phases. If you're writing, you can write there. The entire process of photosynthesis consists of two phases, the light reaction and the what? Dark reaction. But then the standard term used is actually light dependent reaction. Then the other one we normally call dark reaction is actually light independent reaction. You can see the presentation, you see what I'm talking about. So you can say it consists of two phases, light dependent slash light reaction. Second phase is what? Light independent slash dark reaction. Taking alright. So let me look for an illustration that will use to explain what happens here now. Okay, I don't know how many of us have traveled to rural areas, maybe your village or your hometown. It is not that much developed now. Though urbanization is taking over everything now, we are losing our rural area and the lifestyle of the village lifestyle though. Now, if you go to your village, you notice something. Before you even start cooking, just like I say, you cook and this because you have gas. Now, before you start cooking in your village, it's actually of two distinct phases. First thing is actually preparation. Second thing is the actual cooking. Let's say now, back to rice, you want to cook rice. You will not be start bringing plate and all, no. You first of all bring your firewood, break your firewood. Now, when you are done breaking the firewood, you will now start making a fire. You pile it up together. You will probably those that love quick things, you now pour it kerosene. If you are going typical village way, you now bring in flammable materials that can easily catch fire. You now put the fire in it, make fire, then you put the wood, then you be smoking it on the wood. The wood also catches fire, then you will fan it to flame. Once the flame now what erupts, you now start talking about what? Parboiling your rice. Are you still with me? You now put your rice in, put your pot, pour the rice, add the water and everything. So are you seeing the two phases now? First one is what? Generating energy. That's breaking the firewood, making the fire, fanning into flame. The whole process is about generating energy. Now the second step is what? Actual cooking of the rice. Whereas you now put your rice on fire, then pour water and you are monitoring it until it is done. So some of us will eat half of the rice on the fire. Are you with me? Now, back to our photosynthesis class now. We have two distinct phases, the light dependent and light independent. An overview. In the light dependent, we are concerned primarily with utilizing that sunlight. We now take the word sunlight, process the sunlight and produce energy. Now write this somewhere. Maybe somewhere you note, write it somewhere is for your own good so you get to know it much better later in your year of studying. The energy currency of a cell is called ATP. I didn't see triphosphate, but don't bother about full meaning. The energy currency of a cell is called ATP. ATP. To stop. Now, light dependent reaction is concerned with using what? Light energy and then processing light energy to produce ATP and another what? Electron carrier called NADPH. Like I'm running too fast, but stay with me, I will explain. Light independent is now concerned with, okay, we have finished making our fire, we have generated energy. It will now take this ATP and NADPH, nicotinamide adenosine diphosphate. It will now take these two and what? Utilize it, mix it with what? Carbon dioxide, and then eventually what? Produce glucose. Are you with me? So the light dependence is about producing energy. The light independence is about using the energy produced to what? Make food. It is called light independent. Okay, it does not need the sunlight to happen. Light dependent needs sunlight to produce energy. But now here is the twist. I think I'm giving us so much information. Let's just journey a little first. So here is a general overview, just a picture to show you guys what really happens here. Sunlight heats the green plant. Carbon dioxide is always present in the air. Water is absorbed from the roots and taken up via the xylem. Now, in the plant, in the leaf, the chloroplast, um, sunlight, in the chloroplast, carbon dioxide is mixed with another compound called ribulose 1,5 bisphosphate. Don't bother about the name. Ribulose 1,5 bisphosphate. It mixes with it to produce what? A cis carbon intermediary that is unstable to break down, a very long process. You will learn about it later in your further year of study. Eventually, it produces sugar and oxygen. So let's look at it step by step. Let me tell us something about this. At this phase we are right now, it is just the primary level, okay? We will not really be looking at these things deep, deep, deep. So maybe I may explain and then I may get a little bit deeper, but I always put myself back, okay? Don't bother about some deeper knowledge for now. In your year two, I believe around second semester, they will explain all these things in deeper terms, okay? Now, for the light reaction, first of all, first thing first, light reaction occurs, write it somewhere. Light reaction occurs in the presence of sunlight. It does not occur during the night. Now, this is dark, this is night already. The plant cannot continue photosynthesis, there is no sunlight. But light independent can continue up to a point. I will explain later. So the light dependent reaction occurs in the membranes of the chloroplast called thylakoid. So it occurs in the thylakoid membranes of the chloroplast. It requires light energy to produce ATP and then an electron carrier called NADPH. So light reaction what? It uses energy from the sunlight. The sun, okay, let me explain this a little more in detail. When the
I
sun hits
listen.
the chloro hello, I'm listening.
I have a question.
Okay.
So you say that photosynthesis does not occur in the night. So how about plants that grows in the dark, like
How
where
about
there is no light? Plants that
plant?
grows where there is no light for
Okay,
them
you
to.
mentioned you are the person that asked the first question, right?
No, 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 no.
Okay, so the first person that asked the question asked something about chemosynthesis. So chemosynthesis, plants, some plants can still utilize that process to synthesize their own food. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Understood? So we'll
Yes.
get to that one too.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
No problem. Now, photosynthesis cannot occur in the dark. The plants you are seeing now, they are utilizing the food they have produced during the day. Now, you can do a very quick experiment. Take a plant, groom the plant, maybe plant a seed, a beans. Please don't show off your mic, okay? Off your mic. Someone's mic is on. Now, you can get a beans, plant the beans. Once it grows to a particular spot, now get a dark space, somewhere that is very dark, cover it there, and then observe what will happen along the day. It will start utilizing the starch it has made and stored. Eventually, it will what? Die. Now, let's go back to what we are discussing. Light reaction requires light energy to produce ATP and NADPH. What? Someone's mic is on. Please, can you mute your mic? So, where was I? So, water molecules are split to release oxygen. This is so summarized. Now, I will explain. When light hits the leaf of plant, the chloroplast, there is this special membrane in chloroplast called thylakoid. And when light hits it, it excites electron. Please just follow the storyline, okay? You may not get the exact details of everything. Maybe for yourself, it's not needed that. But just understand it. Now, when light hits the thylakoid membranes of the plant, of the chloroplast, it excites what is called electrons. As it excites the electrons, electrons acquire kinetic energy. Now, as they acquire kinetic energy, they jump, they move. Now, there is a system called photosystem 2. If I'm not going so far, are you people still with me? Electrons move from photo system 2 and moves down the gradient. As it is moving down, it is losing energy. Now, this energy are utilized to this is deep wow. But just stay with me, okay? Now, this energy are utilized to power hydrogen pumps. These hydrogen pumps will now what? These hydrogen pumps will now what? Pump. Sorry, it's called proton pump. Proton pump, not hydrogen pump. Now, these proton pumps will now pump protons into the membrane. Just stay with me, okay? To pump proton into the membrane. Wow. As the electron keeps going down, okay? Now, the protons pumped into the membrane, we want to also what? We'll create something called what? A proton gradient. As this gradient is trying to escape from the what? Membrane, it activates ATP synthase. Now, ATP synthase being activated now produces ATP. I know most of us are confused, but just follow me. Light hits the plant, electrons are excited. If electrons allow someone's mic is distracting us. Inside membrane, electrons they are excited. As these electrons are excited, they will travel down system one to put from photosystem two to photosystem one. Actually NADPH. Also, there's something called photolysis. Photolysis. This is used so there are three main products of light-dependent reaction. Number one is ATP, number two is NADPH, and number three is oxygen. Atmospheric oxygen, the oxygen you breathe. So when light hits the green leaf in the day, when light hit the green leaf what produce ATP, an electron carrier called NADPH, and then oxygen as a byproduct. So that's all for light reaction. So this is how the thylakoid lumen looks like. I know you will not understand this now though. If you look at it very well, you should see a blue arrow moving. Now this is photosystem 2. As sunlight hits, let me see if I can draw here. As sunlight hits the thylakoid membrane lumen, electrons are excited, and these electrons travel from photosystem to this side photosystem 2, travel from photosystem 2 through many proteins down to photosystem 1. As it is traveling, it is what? Releasing energy. Now, this energy is also utilized to what? Break down water to split water into hydrogen and what? Oxygen. Okay? My drawing is not complex. Alright. Now, the second and most important step is a dark reaction. The dark reaction, light independent reaction, and then for those in when you get to your 300 level, what it will now be called is what? Calvin Benson cycle. Is there
Hello,
anything?
sir. Your screen is small.
Yes,
Small?
I blurry.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry about that. How about now?
Yeah, it's better now.
Yes.
Better now. Alright, thank you so much. So that reaction is also called the Calvin cycle, Calvin Benson cycle. If you want to do BGS though, BGS is a common term used in the university. It means best graduating students. You know, everybody wants to pass, everybody wants to graduate, but there are those ones in particular. There's one that is first class or not. Most of us, all you promise our parents is that we are going to pass. So if you want to do BGS though, it's also called what? Calvin Benson what cycle. Now, the dark reaction occurs in the stroma of the chloroplast. Take note. Light reaction occurs where in a what? Thylakoid. Dark reaction occurs where in the stroma. I don't know how your exam will be like, but if it is OBJ, these salient points are very, 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 very much crucial for you to remember. Now, the dark reaction, they do not require light. Remember, light reactions occur where in the presence of sunlight occur light. But then an NAD is produced from where? From the light reaction. Let me come again. The light reaction, remember, produces three things: ATP, NADPH, and finally what? Oxygen. Now, oxygen is given off from the plants, and then we human beings and other animals utilize that oxygen. Now, ATP and NADPH remaining are what being pushed to the stroma. Then the dark reaction. Please, it does not really mean this is why it's not called dark reaction. It does not mean it does not occur, it occurs in the night. It is called dark because it does not really need sunlight to be present. What it needs to be present is ATP and NADPH. Now it is dark. If the plant were able to produce enough ATP and NADPH in the morning during the day, now these things will now drive this dark reaction and plant to keep on producing glucose. Whenever this ATP and NADPH runs out, it will stop. Okay, so it is called light independent preferable or Kelvin cycle. Now, um, If I can go further with this class, I will have to explain to us something we are going to encounter later in the year, something called metabolism. Metabolism. So first of all, what is metabolism? Metabolism is what the entire process that occurs in a living cell. That process of what? Production. Ah, let's explain this in a simplest form for us to grasp. It is what? Producing and breakdown. In that simple. Producing and what? Breaking down macromolecules. Producing and breaking down what? Organic molecules. Metabolism has two phases, catabolism and anabolism. So there's a third phase called anabolism as well. But what you are looking today is what? Anabolism, building up, making something. So Calvin cycle is a type of anabolic what? Reaction. And I think most of us are confused now. Let me draw back a little. Now stay with me. Hmm. Why I was going to is something called cycle and pathway. Cycle and pathway. What we are treating now is Calvin cycle. Hello, you have a question?
Yeah,
So that should
please,
be
then
in the
what do you
page.
say about that metabolism?
Wow. Alright, don't worry, we'll not go into that now,
Hello, sir.
okay? So you're not going to. Hello, I'm listening. Are you hearing me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm saying, what of that metabolism? Yes, I'm hearing you. Metabolism. I didn't get it right.
Alright, so for us not to get
Hello?
confused now, I'm speaking for us not. I think network is delaying our conversation. For us not to get confused now, I'll talk about metabolism at the end of the class as extra knowledge. So let's just stick here now, so you will not get lost. Okay? It's a very broad. In short, metabolism is a whole course on its own. Even okay, in your year two, they should break it into five. Metabolism of carbohydrates, protein, lipid, nucleic acid, and general metab. So it's a whole big course. Let's not get lost here. Kelvin cycle is a part of metabolism of carbohydrates. That's why I wanted to touch it, but I see we will get lost very easy. So let's continue. Now, in Calvin cycle, what occurs is this: CO2, carbon dioxide, is fixed into what? Glucose. Wow. It involves three phases. Number one, carbon fixation. Number two, reduction phase. And number three, regeneration of what? RUBP, ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate. Let me slow down and repeat this. Now, in that reaction, see what happens here. We have produced energy. We now want to cook our rice. Your plant will now what? The stroma of the chloroplast, this is where it happens. It will now bring in carbon dioxide. When you bring in carbon dioxide, it will bring another what? Molecule, organic molecule called RUBP. Write it in full. Ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate. So now ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate is now what? Added a carbon from carbon dioxide. Are you still with me? I want to try paying attention. So it will now what? Add carbon dioxide to ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate, and now through a series of processes it will now form what? Glucose. I summarized a lot of things here, but I hope you guys are still following me. Is there any question so far, or you all of you are lost?
Please,
So let me
can
repeat
we
myself.
begin from the part where you said ribulose 1,5?
Yes, ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate. Written. Okay, so let me explain once more now.
Hello, sir.
Okay, I'm listening. Hello.
Please, what is the end product of this dark reaction?
Glucose.
Okay.
Glucose, you can put it. Okay, wait. Write it this way: carbohydrate, then in brackets glucose. Because some plants produce fructose as well. Fructose is your sweet sugar. Sugar cane produce fructose. Very sweet. Alright,
Glucose.
so yeah, in that, do it this way: carbohydrates, then put your bracket glucose.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, in that reaction, the plant utilizes energy produced in the light reaction to form glucose. This occurs in three phases, which will be taught later as you progress down, like I said in your second level. So it occurs in three phases. The first phase is what? Carbon fixation. Okay, alright. Number one is what? Carbon fixation. The second phase is what? Reduction phase. Reduction phase. In reduction phase, what happens is dehydrogenation and phosphorylation and dehydrogenation. A lot of stuff there. And now the last phase is what? Regeneration of RUBP, ribulose 1,5 phosphate. So that's all for that reaction. So your takeaway here is what? It occurs in the stroma of the chloroplast, number one. Number two, it does not require light. Number three, it uses ATP and NADPH produced during light reactions. Number four, it what? Forms glucose as the end product. Carbohydrate in bracket glucose is formed as end product. Now let's look at some mineral requirements. Mineral requirements for these essential minerals are nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and iron. Now nitrogen is required for what? For amino acid and for chlorophyll. Nitrogen is required basically to produce your what? Chlorophyll. Phosphorus is required for what? Absorption of ATP. Then potassium is required to activate those enzymes and what? Allow the stomach to function well. So this is how the dark reaction looks like. A very big, this is what, okay, I just taught the 200 level in my university. I taught them this reaction recently. I think sometime last week. A very consistent, but God is helping us. Alright, so deficiency. What happens when one or two of these minerals become deficient? Now, nitrogen deficiency. Remember, nitrogen helps in what? Production of chlorophyll, right? There will be stunted growth and yellowing of older leaves. Why would there be yellowing? There is not poor production of chlorophyll. Second, phosphorus deficiency. Phosphorus deficiency will also cause what? Poor root growth and purple leaves. Remember, phosphorus is responsible for what? Absorption of ATP. Then potassium will also cause yellowing and browning. And finally, magnesium will also what? Cause interveinal fluorosis. That's the veins be what? Yellow in color. Questions just don't normally come from this, but the ones you should memorize here is nitrogen and phosphorus. That's the most popular ones that they normally ask. So let's look at transport in plants. Transport in plants. Now, previous classes I've always mentioned xylem and phloem. Xylem and phloem. Now, xylem is what? Is a vascular structure responsible for transporting water and minerals from the roots to the leaf. So it does what? Upward transport. You can call it unidirectional upward transport. So you look outside your house, you will see a tree. That tree, the xylem in that tree performs a unidirect. Wait, I think I have a picture. Yeah, and look at it very well. What is xylem there? So xylem, this is xylem. It performs unidirectional transport. It moves from the roots and upward. Whereas the phloem, that's this tissue here, performs bidirectional. It can go up, it can come down. Look at it here. Food is made here. Now this phloem can take this food up to other branches. It can also what? Bring it down to the what? to the roots. So the phloem transports foods from the leaves to the other part, whereas the what xylem transports water and mineral. It involves the processes osmosis, transpiration, and active transport. We are going to explain that in a bit. Now, xylem and water transport. So, what are xylem? Xylem are dead cells. They are not living. There are dead cells containing tubes. So, they help in what transport of water by transpirational pull, cohesion, and adhesion. I will explain later. Root pressure also what plays a role. Okay, so xylem is the what plant tissue responsible for transport of water from the root to the leaf. Now, how is it that dead tissues are able to carry water? You know what it means to transfer water against gravity. Now, you, for example, imagine carrying a gallon of water from your down floor to your up floor. Or imagine fetching firewood from somewhere to somewhere. It requires energy. And now we are telling us that these xylem are dead. So it doesn't in any way utilize its active form. So how is it that they now move water against force of gravity that is very strong somehow? It does this by three main mechanisms: transpirational pull, cohesion, and adhesion. I think I will start with cohesion and adhesion first, then I will explain transpirational pull. There are these properties of water we are taught in chemistry in secondary school. Number one is cohesion. Ability of water to do what? To aggregate. Water molecules have this characteristics that when you drop them, they tend to what? Bind together to form a lump. If you have water near you, please run the experiment. Bring a water, just dip your hand in the water, leave a droplet, and put your hand there again, come near it and drop another droplet. You notice something. The two of them will immediately what? Lap together, overlap, and it will form a what? Single droplet. That is cohesion. Second thing, adhesion. Adhesion is the ability of water to attach to other surfaces. So water molecule can attach to themselves. Beautiful. They can also what? Attach to other surfaces. A very quick practical. Bring down your
Hello,
hand.
are you still there?
Hello. Alright. Now, when you dip your hand inside water and bring it out, you notice something. Your hand is wet. That is adhesion. Those water and droplets, you are able to what? Adhere to your what? Hand. And then you have this wet sensation. So these two things help water to what? Be able to both bind to itself and to what? Bind to the xylem tissue. Then the main important force is what? Transpirational pull. Transpiration is what? Evaporation of water. Okay. So when water evaporates from the roots, remember cohesion, okay? Now each water, wow, please paint this picture in your head now. Are you seeing this image?
Yes.
Okay. Now this image is like a vessel. Imagine water droplets are arranged head to head from down here to up here. When transpiration occurs, one water droplet evaporates. As it evaporates, remember cohesion, they are attached to each other. So as it evaporates, it pulls the other ones up. I will be seeing the beauty of this now. So during transpiration, as water droplets are evaporating, it is pulling the ones beneath it up. Thereby, water is what? Moving up. Then ask the question, why is it that it is moving up and not falling down? Adhesion. Water is able to resist gravity by what? Attaching itself to the what? Body of that xylem. So it is three processes: transpiration, adhesion, transpiration, cohesion, and what? Adhesion. Now there's a third one called the what? There's a third one called the what? Root pressure. Water moves in via osmosis in the roots. So as water moves in, it creates what? A pressure, a kind of force that now tends to what? Push every other thing there up. These four processes help what? Transport of water from the roots to the leaves. Now let's look at transport of food. Transport of food is what's called translocation. Translocation. Change in what? Location. So phloem consists of sieve tubes and companion cells. First of all, phloem are living cells. Xylem are dead, phloem are living. So they help in movement of sugar from sugar. Please, anywhere you hear sugar in context of biochem, sugar talks about carbohydrates. They can also call it saccharide. So translocation is movement of sugar from the source, that is leaf, to the sink. Okay, so it moves disaccharide from the source, from where they are produced to where they are needed. That's the root, fruit, stem, any other place. Now, xylem, transport of water and mineral, is passive, does not require energy, whereas phloem is active, it requires energy. Remember, xylem are dead, phloem are living. Xylem transport water and mineral, phloem transport what? Food. Xylem transports air, transpiration, adhesion, cohesion, and root pressure. Phloem does this by a process called translocation. So these are the few examples I can what pinpoint out here from you. So let's look at the last thing here. Osmosis in plants. Osmosis in plants. We have talked about how food is produced and how food is transported. And now we have talked about how water is transported, but we have not talked about how water is what obtained. So how is water taken up by the plant? Osmosis. So osmosis, as we know from secondary school, is the movement of water from a region of what from a region of higher concentration to a region of what lower concentration. Sorry, from a region of
Lower.
lower to a region of higher concentration via what a semi-permeable membrane. So water moves up via the what root hairs via osmosis. Now, as water moves up, remember transpiration now draws it upward as well. What is the importance of water in plants? It helps what maintain sugar pressure. It helps maintain sugar what pressure. When there's enough water, the plant cell kind of like become like, it's like blowing a balloon, blowing air into a balloon, and the balloon becomes what stiff and tight. If you should remove water from the cell, from the plant becomes flaccid and can easily what bend and break. That kind of scenario. So now let's look at our practical classes you can perform. Photosynthesis. First of all of us here are scientists. For you to be in this class, you are a scientist. Okay, whether you're aspiring to study medicine and surgery, or you're aspiring to study what's this called? Human anatomy, human physiology, human nutrition and dietetics, medical laboratory science, radiography, which department am I missing? Environmental health sciences, nursing, beautiful. Are you with me? All of you are first of all what is scientist. Now we being scientists means I will not just come and tell you something and you believe it without testing it. If you see throughout the course of this class, I've been telling us perform these simple experiments, perform this, perform that. So you'll be seeing it as we are doing it. When I go to classes to teach, I'm still a student, but by God's grace, I'm teaching my juniors as well. When I go to classes to teach, I experiment the little things we can do. When the school permits us, we can use our school laboratory and I show them practical works. Now, photosynthesis, for you to be able to confirm these theories I've been teaching us since, do the simple thing. Most of these chemicals are cheap, you can afford them. Get a plant, a living plant, bring that plant, maybe plant one, it will take 3 days for beans to germinate. Bring that your beans plant, groom it maybe 1 week. Now keep it in a dark environment, maybe your dark room. Leave it for 24 hours to 48 hours, it will not die. Now after this, what you are doing is the food stored in the leaf will be utilized, so there will be no starch in it. It is called destarching it. So once you have discharged your plant, you now bring it out to the sunlight. Keep it under the sun for some hours. After exposing it to the sun for some hours, look for a leaf. Pluck what? A leaf. Bring that leaf. You are going to need iodine solution. You are going to need ethanol solution. Now dip that leaf inside your what? Boiling water, hot water. Boil the water. Put that leaf inside the hot water. What are you doing? You are trying to kill the leaf, so the leaf will not produce more starch. After you are done boiling the leaf, remove it. Now, what else? What else? Now, boil the leaf as well inside ethanol. But please be careful. Ethanol is very, very flammable. So boil the leaf inside ethanol. What are you trying to do? You are trying to kill chlorophyll as well. So once you are done, bring it out. You now have a leaf that is darkened. The leaf is not with the leaf does not have chlorophyll, neither does he have what neither is he alive. It is now dead. So what are you going to do next? You bring iodine. Remember, iodine is what used for test for starch. If you did your chemistry in secondary school, well, you know this thing I'm saying now. So once you pour iodine in a starch solution, it is going to turn what? Blue black in color. So if photosynthesis has occurred, it means glucose has been produced. Now once you pour iodine on that leaf, it is going to turn to the what? Blue black color. It will now confirm photosynthesis. So let me summarize this again. These are the little things you need. You need a Bunsen burner, you need a beaker, you need an iodine solution, you need an ethanol solution, and then you need a plant. Number one, discharge your plant. Keep it in a dark environment for 24 to 48 hours. Number two, boil the plant. Okay, sorry, number two, expose the plant to sunlight. Expose the plant to sunlight so it will undergo the what? Photosynthesis. Number three, pluck a healthy leaf. Boil the leaf in hot water and also boil it in what? Ethanol. Now when you are done boiling it, number four step, now the first step, pour a solution of iodine to that leaf. If photosynthesis has occurred, it is going to turn blue black. Now let's do a test setup. For your test setup, bring another plant, leave it, discharge it, keep it under your dark room for 24 to 48 hours to ensure that no photosynthesis will occur again. After that, still in your dark room, okay, don't bring it outside. Pluck out a leaf, do the whole process again. Pluck out a leaf, boil it in hot water, boil it in ethanol, then pour iodine solution. It will not change to blue black. This is now going to confirm that photosynthesis occur where? In the presence of sunlight. Thank you so much. Now let's move to the next one. Transpiration experiment. Transpiration experiment. Now you use something called a photometer to measure this. Well, this is not really much experiment you can conduct. Now, investigate the effect of wind, humidity, light, and temperature. Is observed stomata opening and stomata closure. Now, here the machine will actually do the whole entire process, so it's not something you conduct. But then there's another way, but I've forgotten what that is called. I think disulfide, if I'm not mistaken. No, I've forgotten how to do that one. But I'll get back to what I just have to have to on that. So summary, let's go down to everything we have learned so far. Number one, plant also eat. That's the key thing. Plant also eat. Number two, plant able to produce the food they eat and the food that feed you both directly and indirectly via a process called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis has two phases, the light dependent and light independent. Now the light dependent phase utilizes what? Energy from the light, from the sunlight, to produce ATP, an electron carrier called NADPH, and lastly oxygen as byproduct. The light independent phase uses what? ATP and NADPH to produce glucose. Now we have transport system in plants. We have the xylem and phloem. The xylem moves water from the root to the leaf or wherever they are needed, whereas the phloem moves what? Food substance, glucose, from the leaf to what? The from the leaf to wherever they are needed. That's both the stem, the root, and other leaves as well. Now let me do a classification, a compare and contrast for us. Xylem are dead tissues, whereas phloem are what? Living tissues. Number one. Number two, xylem, the process of transport in xylem is what? Passive, whereas the process of transport in phloem is what? Active. Three, xylem um mm, xylem conducts a unidirectional transport. Xylem performs unidirectional transport, whereas phloem performs bidirectional. What am I missing? What am I missing? Am I missing anything? I think that's all for now. Okay, so this is the time I ask you what's your question. So do you have any question? Alright, so this is the end of the class. I want to wish all of us a very wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for being a for partaking in this class. I wish us the very best of weekends. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.